What's going on, Ghosties? Welcome back to Tales of Spooky Coffee House. If you're new here, welcome to our podcast. My name is Veronica,
And I'm Chelsea.
and we are your hosts. On today's episode, we will be discussing our haunted location, the Roosevelt Hotel, and serial killer of the week, Leonarda Cianciulli, as well as a tarot reading at the end of the podcast. I do want to mention really quick, I do have COVID. So if you're listening to this, please wear a mask. Maybe gloves would be great, if you're gonna be lowering and uppering the volume. I just don't wanna risk it because Zianabel, she's the last person I talked to on Discord while we were playing Dead by Daylight, and funny enough, I got sick the day after, so yeah, you bet your ass it could happen like this. So, yeah.
So I think I'm not gonna record the rest of the podcast with you and just tell you to have a good night.
Yo, if you wake up tomorrow and you're like, "Veronica, I have a sore throat," like well, we just had technical difficulties right now, guys. We're gonna save it for our blooper episode, but oh my gosh, we tripped out hard. Anyways, we'll save that story for you guys because it was a good one. How are you, Chelsea? What's going on?
I'm good. I've been having a very weird week.
Okay. Do you want to share or
No, not really. How you
okay?
been?
COVID. It's been great.
Dumb question.
Well, honestly, like, okay, so the thing is that I woke up Sunday like super, super sick. Like I had fever. Like my fever was the worst thing. It was like one of the worst fevers I've ever had. And my fever lasted a couple of days. And yesterday my mom was like, "Do you want to go to the clinic?" And I was like, "Yeah, because if I call my primary, it's gonna take like 5 days for them to see me." So then I go to the clinic and I get my drugs. But the thing is that I tested negative for COVID yesterday morning. You know what I mean? Like yesterday morning was the last time that I tested myself and it came out negative. And so then the doctor was like, "You know what? Just test yourself again. You never know." So I pick up some tests and I test myself and dude, I was like, it's gonna come out negative. Like I just have a cold, you know? That shit comes out positive. I was like, I should have recorded. That could have been my TikTok moment, finding out that I have COVID for the first time. But
Wait, this
yeah,
is the first time you've had COVID?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh shit. I've had
Yeah,
COVID
yeah.
like 5 times
Really?
in
Nah,
the
that bitch
in the
finally
last
got
couple of
me.
years.
Yeah, so I came out positive. I got my drugs, my prescriptions. I've been taking care of myself, so I'm trying to feel better. I have my sexy singing sick voice like Phoebe Buffay. So if you guys want me to sing you Smelly Cat at the end of the podcast, just let me know. And yeah, and I'm gonna try not to cough as much. Luckily, I can mute myself with the way we're recording. So if I need to cough, I'll just mute myself. But yeah. Are you drinking any coffee?
I'm not drinking any coffee today. I'm drinking chocolate milk.
You know what? That's okay.
I think this is the first episode I haven't drank coffee.
And you know what? That's okay. You
Okay.
guys, ghosties, you see how I'm okay with that? But yeah, some other people take it up the ass.
Anyways, I do want to say though that I had enough coffee during the day. I had like 6 cups of coffee today because pumpkin spice coffee creamer is back out.
Yes, I think it's not out for us until like the 30th.
Ha, losers.
Anyways,
But yeah, so I think I made up on my coffee today.
no, yeah, I think you're cracked out for the day.
Yeah, yeah. So you can't be like, I can't be too mad that I'm not drinking coffee while recording. So Veronica, I have a story to tell you.
Ooh, story time.
So you know how we were talking about deity work in our experience episode?
Yes.
So I had our dear listener Arlene, who I believe we've talked about multiple times on the show,
Yes, we have.
but she messaged me a couple of days ago, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was like the 18th or something like that. And she was, she was asking how the girls were, and she was like, I need to ask you something. She's like, I need a outside opinion. I was like, okay,
Hmm.
like what's up? She's like, so there was some coincidence that happened, and she was listening to our podcast, the one with the deities, and it got her thinking like if she should or shouldn't, or like which one she would, that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
And she went to her niece's house. I believe it was her niece's house. And she has a cat named Athena. And then the next day, she went and found an owl feather and she was doing research. And an owl feather,
My jaw's already on the floor.
an owl feather is actually a representation of Athena. And so she was like, is this a coincidence or a sign? I'm like, am I looking too much into this? Like,
Yeah.
no. Like, I told her straight up, I was like, no, you're not looking too much into it. Like, that's a legit sign. And she was
And
like, I've got chills.
and you know what? I think it's kind of like a good thing to help others kind of
Discover new
like
things.
discover new things as sign like but take things as signs because you go about your day and you don't look for signs. That's the thing. We don't look for them.
Mhm.
I feel like maybe it's time we help people or tell people like, you know what? It's okay to be open-minded. Like if something happens that's kind of odd, think about it. What can that represent? Can it represent something? And if it doesn't, whatever. You're having fun trying to think about something, you know?
Yeah,
And
you're being mindful, like you're
mhm.
being mindful of the moment.
And whether it literally doesn't mean anything, but it means something to you and it could change your life in one way or the other, small or big change, like fucking take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
You take that as a sign, Arlene. I have a small update on that suicide I told you about last week at Griffith
Mhm.
Park. Okay, so Ghosties, if this is your first episode or if you skipped last episode, quick reminder, at Griffith Park, they found a woman hanging on fire. Police say that it was simply a suicide. I don't think it was a suicide. I don't think Chelsea thought it was a
I
suicide.
did not think it was a suicide. Even people that I brought it up to were like, I was like, "What
Mhm.
kind of crime would you say this was?" And they're like, "Oh, like murder." And I was like, "No, it's a suicide." They were like, "What the fuck?"
Mhm. Okay. So, my friend sent me a link from Reddit. Apparently, she was a victim of sex trafficking, and that the son is now saying that he doesn't think it's right that the LAPD is closing the case or has closed the case and just called it a suicide for the day. Yeah, little details are coming up, and if more details come up on this, I'm gonna keep you guys posted because this is very interesting.
That's definitely more reason why they shouldn't rule it a suicide. There's more to this story than they're saying.
Oh yeah, for sure. I just the thing is like, are you guys ruling it as suicide because you know who's involved and you're trying to cover for them, or you yourselves are involved, you know?
Or, I was thinking too, like after we had ended last episode, what if it's not so much as they're covering somebody that's like local, but they're covering for a bigger investigation?
Oh,
Like I was thinking about that because that would actually be smart because you don't want to ruin a bigger investigation by putting in a smaller one that would get like less crime and less bigger players, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So I was thinking about that too.
That's a really good point.
And I don't again, I don't think it's right, but I don't know. Like it was just something that I was thinking about.
No, I'm really happy you brought that up actually. I didn't think of that. Good point. I'm a I'm gonna text my nephew and be like, "Yo." Yeah, cool. Good shit. Yeah, let's keep talking about this. Well, not today, but like when we get more details.
Yeah, yeah. I get you. I have another interesting story that I don't know
Do
if you know about.
Okay, well, do tell.
Do you like the Minions?
Yeah, I recently just saw the new movie.
Did you know that the Minions are based on a true story?
No.
So I was reading this thing. I don't know if it's real or not. Like, if I'm wrong, then I'm totally wrong, but it's a
Then it'll
good
be a fun
story.
story. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a good story though. So there was a bunch of kids that went missing in a village and they later found them looking like the Minions where, they were all deformed. Some of them had like one eye in the middle of their face and none of them could speak or anything. And they were using them as slaves.
What the heck? And do you know wait, where?
But I don't know, like I
This is
remember reading it.
very like The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, it was in 1903 when the children went missing in a small town and were used as an experiment. When they
Mm.
were found, they were deformed and couldn't speak. Let's see. Let's see what else it comes up with. Okay, so I just looked into it.
Mhm.
It is a hoax story, but it was based on experiments that were done in Nazi Germany,
Mm.
and it was to draw attention to the practice of human experiences and torture that had happened on the Jewish children.
Dude, what the heck?
Yeah. So even though it's fake, it was like it was like to draw attention to actual truth.
I don't know. I think my I think my feelings just s- uh shifted or what? What am I trying to say?
I don't know.
I think my mind just like changed my opinion on Minions. Like, I don't know if I'm a fan now.
But speaking of experiments and stuff,
Uh-huh.
so I was reading this thing. Again, I don't know if this is actually true, but if it is, it's a really good story. Even if it's not, it's a really good story.
Yeah.
So, do you know that there's more sociopaths in society than we realize?
You know, I wouldn't doubt it.
So, the term sociopath means a person with a personality disorder that manifests itself in extreme antisocial attitudes and behavior with a lack of consciousness. So, things like illegal acts, repeatedly lying, disregarding the right and like violating the rights of others, irritability, impulsivity, aggressiveness, lack of remorse, reckless disregard for safety, irresponsibility, stuff like that, right? So,
Mm.
again, disclaimer, I don't know if this was actually true or not, but there was a doctor who was doing experiments on the sociopath brain, and he used a bunch of prisoners who were classified as sociopaths and brought in everyday people as well. So you had the experiment and the control, you know
Mhm,
what I
mhm,
mean?
mhm, mhm, mhm. I took psychology, I know.
Okay. So he was taking pictures of people's brains, and he found one from the control group, like all these random people that matched those of diagnosed sociopaths. So he went to go find them, to figure out like the connection. Turns out it was him.
He was a sociopath?
Yes,
Or he made them into a sociopath?
no, the doctor that was doing the experiment was a sociopath
And he discovered that through his,
through
the
his
information he
experiment.
got?
Yes.
Ahaha!
So here was the thing that he was talking about. This guy is married. He has a family. He's
Uh-huh.
never been in any legal trouble.
Yeah.
He never had a trigger.
Or he just hasn't
He
found it yet. Or he hadn't found it yet.
Yeah, he just always felt like he didn't like to be around people. So he was a little antisocial, but he wasn't like murderously antisocial. He never got angry like some sociopaths do. And so it was interesting to him and to me for reading this to find out that there are more sociopaths than we realize that are walking next to us. They just haven't been triggered yet.
No, I totally believe that. Even the story, like, it can't be wrong. Like, you know what I mean? Oh, well,
Yeah.
you're saying it like it could be made up.
So yeah, that was my story on sociopaths, and it kind of made me want to take a picture of my brain to see if I could potentially be a sociopath.
How do you even get a camera up there? Okay, well, thank you for sharing that. That's fun. I could definitely picture almost everyone I know being a sociopath just by you describing.
Now it's gonna make you wonder what their trigger is.
Dude, I'm wondering what my trigger is. I'll Google it. What's my trigger? Ghosties, something else you guys should look forward to in the near future. Chelsea and I finished reading A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and it was pretty flippin' amazing. I guess I want to say spoiler alert because I kind of want to talk about the ending a little bit. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
All right, so spoiler alert, so Miley doesn't get mad. I knew that there was gonna be like a twist at the end, like some kind of like, wait, what?
Yeah.
But then the thing happened where she went to go visit the sister. And tell me why, as soon as that bitch offered her a tea, tell me why I knew she was gonna do something, right? Sure
Mhm.
enough, she gets fucking poisoned. And then tell me why I absolutely fell in love with the moment where Ravi and her parents come to rescue her. And Pip goes, "How did you find me?" He was like, "You're still sharing your location with me." I was like, I fucking love this guy.
Yeah, there was like a bunch of parts where I fell in love with him. By the way, it's Ravi.
Ravi, there you go.
Yeah. And the only reason I know that is because I listened to the audiobook and that's how they pronounced it. So
No, it's definitely nicer to say too, Ravi.
and I'm just saying, like, for all of our listeners, like, you can hear how excited Veronica is about the twist in the end of book 1. Wait till you get to
Bruh.
book 3.
No, dude, I'm reading book 2 and I'm excited for that. I love that book 2 is kind of like a podcast.
Yeah, I do too. I thought that was
I thought
great.
that was funny. Yeah.
Book 1's ending was really good. Book 2, I liked the podcast like setup, but that wasn't my favorite book, honestly.
I really hope you saying that doesn't like alter my opinion on it because I just started it.
Well, like
I don't
I
know.
think
I'm not even
like,
gonna ask questions because I don't want to know. I don't want to know anything. I want to read it with a clear mind.
well, let me just say, like, I think it's really important to the storyline because you can't
Uh-huh.
have the masterpiece that is book 3 without having
Of
book 2.
course.
It
Of
just
course. It's like having to read New Moon, you know? You know that
yeah,
shit's boring as fuck, but you got to.
that was the perfect fucking example.
You're welcome.
But yeah, no, like book 3, it comes full circle, dude. Like if you didn't read book 1 or book 2, you would have no fucking clue what was going on. I just love
I
how she puts it all together. It's amazing.
I'm excited for Ziannabelle to read it. I know she wants to borrow it now that I'm done reading it. It's just, oh, it's so good. Well, now all that being said, so Ghosty, stay tuned because we're gonna do that book talk Tuesday for you guys. Hopefully in the near future. We
Yeah,
did
and now
have some
I figured out our technical difficulties, so it's not going to be too
perfect.
much work. Yeah.
Perfect. I do have some questions for you, Chelsea.
Okay.
You can't even tell I have COVID. I sound so normal. What is the most rewarding thing about being an author and getting to write stories? This is a question I thought about earlier because Ghosties, I will be interviewing Chelsea also in the near future on her book. And this is a question that I thought about for the interview, but I kind of want to ask you now just because I find it really interesting and I'm really curious to know your answer.
So I feel like that's kind of like a two-parter question. So like the most rewarding thing about being an author is just seeing my book in people's hands. Like I
Mm-hmm.
asked people that bought my book to send me pictures so I can post on social media and be like look all the copies that I've sold and this and that. And I was so overwhelmed by the amount of photos that I got.
Yeah.
And at this point it's like, yeah, I know all these people, like they know me, like they're really happy for me. Then like hundreds of people who would buy the
Well, you
book,
don't know. Mm-hmm.
yeah, that you don't know. But it's the fact still that like my book is a physical thing now in people's hands, and there's just something so rewarding about that. It's an experience that you really can't explain. You have to experience for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
then
no, I'm sure. It's like if I were to write a song and I know that people are listening to it that I don't know personally, like that's a pretty like dope feeling, I'm sure.
yeah. And then, like, the most rewarding thing about writing stories for me is to just, all of my stories have a message in them. It may not be something that's like said specifically, it might be something that's implied. And, not everybody's going to get what you are trying to put out, but that's okay. And so, like, the most rewarding thing is like people learning that lesson, experiencing that lesson to try and help them. And there's something rewarding about that I really enjoy. For instance, my book that's coming out in December, the kind of like lesson learned from it is to be careful
Mhm.
with social media, but it's not something that's like explicitly talked about. It's just kind of implied. And
Mhm.
not everybody's going to get that or understand it. Some people might be like, oh, like that's actually kind of creepy. Like maybe I should, turn off my location for social media, stuff like that. But it's
Mhm.
not that they may not necessarily like, oh, like this book was about, the dangers of social media because there's just
Mhm.
so much other stuff going on. So there's something rewarding about like people subconsciously picking up what you're putting out and kind of learning from
Mhm.
it.
Mhm. Love that. My next question for you is what is the weirdest thing you believed as a kid?
I don't know. I mean, I guess, is it weird that I hardcore believe that vampires were real?
No.
Okay. What about the crazy amount of fucking, like, I thought there was going to be so much quicksand in real life.
Oh yeah, quicksand was scary.
There was like so much, like,
Like, and we never lived anywhere near quicksand yet. I was scared of that shit so much.
no, like, I always thought, like, the way that people talked about it, like, terrified of that shit.
At
What about
least
you?
at
What's
least
the
we're
thing
fine. The weirdest thing I believed as a kid, I guess it's something that I still believe in now, is that like there's cameras and like dolls in their eyes and that there's actually people
that-
recording you or watching you.
Oh my God, stop.
Yeah, that's like a irrational fear of mine.
That was not a fear of mine until right now.
No, yeah, dude. I'm scared.
Oh my God. I'm all ready to try the dolls, and then you have to go fucking say that.
I mean,
We have another question. Move
yeah,
on.
I
Move on.
do. What is something you love to do when no one else around? When what? When no one else is around?
I like to play with my boobs.
You know what? Me too. They're
Is that
fun.
your answer? Is that your answer?
Is that my answer? No, sure, yeah, sure. I don't wanna dig myself in a deeper hole or anything.
Yeah, no, when nobody's around, like there's been times where I'll catch myself in the kitchen cooking and like I'm thinking and I'll just like grab my boobs and start playing with them and I'm like I'll catch
I'm
myself
glad
and
you
be like,
can do
"What?"
that during our book talk Tuesday on Zoom. Cause you know how you have your moments when you have your thinking face?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that's not a habit that you do.
Oh, I'm more subconscious when I know that I'm being like recorded or something.
Tell that to your face. Cause when you think, your face is just so funny.
I have some questions for you.
Go for it.
Okay, I can't say no, and money's not an issue. What are we doing for one day?
I think I would fly us out first class to Scotland, Ireland, and London and just book like ghost tours all day, go to dinner and have drinks in like the best restaurants and bars, and then stay a night at like a haunted castle or something. I think that's what I would want us to do.
Nice.
Yeah. What about you?
Bitch, we're going skydiving.
Next question.
And then after that, we can go visit some haunted places.
Yeah, wherever we land, wherever I land is gonna be a haunted place because I'm gonna die. I'm gonna have a heart attack midair. I'm gonna be haunting the air, man.
Did you know that Leonardo DiCaprio almost died in a skydiving?
No, but did you know that Leonardo DiCaprio saved someone in the middle of the ocean while he was on his yacht?
Yeah. Dude, he has got some wild fucking stories.
Yeah, that man has lived.
The skydiving thing, I was watching an interview with him on Ellen and she was asking about it. And he's like,
Mhm,
yeah, his parachute failed. And then the emergency parachute failed. And the guy, because he was attached to an experienced diver,
mhm.
and like that guy was freaking out.
Wow.
And I was like, could you fucking imagine?
Yeah, when your professional is freaking out, I mean, they should know to keep their cool. I mean, I get it. You're fucking falling from the sky, but
And both parachutes fucking fail.
so how did he survive it?
I guess it got untangled or something, and they just landed really hard. Yeah.
Oy, yeah, no, I'm good.
Anyways, my next question for you: what is
Mhm.
the best present you've ever gotten?
That's a good question. You know what? Stephanie's pretty good at gifts.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
she's really good at gifts. So I'm gonna go with she made me this really cute like picture holder thing and it has pictures of us at a like the Green Day concert when we went to San Francisco and it's like a I don't know how to explain it. It's a wooden
Picture frame?
board. She painted it purple and she wrote Friends on it because I was a huge like Friends fan. And then
Oh,
she put the string underneneath and then so I
yeah.
think that was pretty cute. I really love that gift.
Yeah, she sent me a picture of it before she sent it, like gave it to you, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
love that.
Do you know what she got for me this time?
What'd she get you this time?
I don't know because she supposedly has something for me that involves like I don't know if it's Mandalorian Grogu or
Oh,
Pedro.
oh, okay. So my next question,
Wow, wait, okay, what's your answer? You even wrote it here, honey. Come on.
I was just trying to avoid like answering your. What do you know what it
Well,
is?
no,
Because
I'll ask after you answer. It's okay. It's okay. All right. So, what was the best present you've ever gotten?
so speaking of Stephanie, you know how in middle school we were obsessed with the Jonas Brothers?
How can I forget?
Okay, so I still have all of their albums from middle school, right? And
For those of you who doesn't know what a CD is, Google it.
oh my God, I know, right? So the Jonas Brothers album, I think it was their last one before they kind of like disappeared a little bit. They released this like special edition black and gold copy of it, and it was literally all that I wanted. And
hmm
I kept telling my mom, I was like, I really want this, I really want this. And she was like, well, you're gonna have to wait for Christmas because what if somebody else gets it for you? And I was like, they can give me other stuff. Like this is like I want this right now, like before the special editions get sold out. And she like refused. She wouldn't let anybody buy it for me. And I was like, at the time that was super devastating. And now that I think about it, it's really kind of funny. But
Yeah.
so she wouldn't get it for me, and I was really bummed. So Christmas comes around. We have Christmas with Nana and Grampy, and like Christmas is pretty much like done, and I still hadn't gotten this fucking album, right? And I was devastated. I was like, look, mom, you fucking made me wait until Christmas and I don't have it. I'm going to cry. And so we go to my grandma's and we're opening presents. My aunt and uncle, my cousins were supposed to be there, but there was something that happened, so we couldn't go there on the same day. So they left my present there, and we spent time with my grandma and stuff. And then before we left, they were like, "Okay, we'll open up your gifts." And I was like, I don't want to open it. They're not here to see me open it. Like, I feel bad. And they're like, "No, just open it." I opened it, and it's the motherfucking Jonas Brother album, right?
Uh-huh.
And when I tell you that I screamed because I wasn't expecting it. I didn't even know that they knew I liked the Jonas Brothers. And I guess my mom had told them, and she was like, "I'll get it. Like, don't let anyone else get it." And so
Uh-huh.
I screamed, dude, like fucking screamed. And her and my grandma like both jumped because they weren't expecting it.
Uh-huh.
And it was the best gift that I had ever gotten. And I still remember the lyrics to every single motherfucking song.
You're embarrassing. Prove it.
I don't understand why I have such an issue remembering things that I need to remember, but I can remember every single Jonas Brother lyric from their first 3 albums from middle school. I don't understand it.
I mean,
And
it's
I even proved it because Stephanie and I got super excited when they released their first song in like years. Something it was something that they wrote for their wives, I think, or something. I don't remember. Whatever song like came out, we were like, "Hey, it'd be really funny to kind of like see if we remember the Jonas Brothers lyrics." Like, haha, we remembered all of them.
yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, and I literally texted my mom and I was like, "Apparently, it wasn't a phase." So that was the best present I've ever gotten. My next question for you is, what do you think is my best personality trait?
Probably your patience.
My patience? Have you met me?
You'd be surprised as someone from the outside looking in, like yeah, I would not have the patience to live your life.
Are you talking about my life or my kids?
All of the above. All of the above.
You want to know what my favorite personality trait about you is?
I don't know. Are you gonna be nice?
Yeah, actually, I really was.
Okay, what?
Your humor.
I mean, duh. Yeah, I'm hilarious.
Yeah, like I
And
can
you
be
know
in a
what?
good and you would make me laugh.
That's why I look forward to this podcast, man. Honestly, like if you were to ask me what you asked me in the first episode, like why I'm doing this, my answer now would be like, because no matter what the mood is, whether I'm coming into this during a like depressing day or a stressful day, whatever it is, like I always feel better. You know what I mean? Because I know that once we start recording, we're gonna laugh about something stupid that one of us fucking says. Or like, you know what I mean? Like it's just like, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I came into this like in a shitty mood today, and that's why you were like, "Are you sure
Mhm.
you want to do this? Are you sure you want to do this?" And I'm like, "Yes." Like
I'm
I fuck.
dying currently, but I love it here. Like I'm so sorry if I get quieter or talk slow. My voice is getting a little tired, but yeah, it's just COVID, you know? It's just COVID. It's just roundness. So 2 years ago, I know Veronica, always late to the
Exactly. Get over
game.
it. I said, "Yeah, exactly. It's 2 years ago. Get over it."
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
So, Veronica, you want to take us into the haunted location of the week?
I would love to. I'm going to be talking about the Roosevelt Hotel. I'm really excited just because the Roosevelt Hotel is located here in Hollywood. All right, so some history and fun facts. The Roosevelt Hotel was built in 1926 during the golden era of Los Angeles. The hotel was named after the 26th President of the United States, Theodore Roosevelt. The hotel opened on May 15th, 1927. The Roosevelt Hotel is 12 stories and has 300 guest rooms, including 63 suites. The hotel is located right off of Hollywood Walk of Fame and right across the street from the TCL Chinese Theater. The Roosevelt Hotel also has a total of 8 restaurants, bars, and lounges. Fun fact, the first Academy Award ceremony was held at the Roosevelt Hotel on May 16th, 1929.
I actually didn't know.
Didn't know about the Academy Awards.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? That was interesting. When I read that, I was like, huh. Dude, wait.
Sorry, keep going.
Here are some other fun facts that I discovered during my research. The pool at the Roosevelt Hotel was featured in 1955 episode of I Love Lucy when the Ricardos and the Mertz came to Hollywood. The hotel's hallway can be seen in episode 7 of the 2016 FX true crime anthology television series The People vs. O.J. Simpson, American Crime Story. Prince performed 5 shows at the hotel in 2007, which included dinner with his personal chef, a 2-hour performance, and a post set. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the famous fire that occurred at the Roosevelt Hotel. So on December 29th, 1963, a fire broke out in the ballroom, killing 22 people. After a day of recovering the dead, firefighters found 20 residents dead in their beds from smoke inhalation. A woman died after attempting to climb to safety from her 11th floor room, but slipped while on the makeshift bedsheet rope that she had made. After the woman died, after attempting to climb to safety, Assistant Chief J.R. Romedy collapsed of a heart attack during the initial rescue effort and died at the scene. So something that's gonna trip me out, if you guys don't mind, but remember the fact that I told you that the hotel was in an episode of I Love Lucy, okay? Because that's something I just caught right now. So moving on to my last section, which is the ghosts that haunt the Roosevelt Hotel. So there have been multiple reports of guests seeing a ghost of a little girl in a blue dress. They say that people often believe they are seeing a living child in front of them before she disappears before their very own eyes. The identity of the child is unknown, but they refer to her as Caroline, because why not? So remember how I mentioned that the first Academy Awards was held in the hotel? More specifically, it was held in the Blossom Ballroom. In this same ballroom is where witnesses say they see a ghost of a man in a tuxedo. Some say he may have been one of the attendees at the Academy Awards. Another thing that witnesses have mentioned about this ghost is that he really seems shy and quickly disappears if he notices guests watching him. I think it's kind of funny, you know, like a ghost has social
Yeah.
anxiety. That's gonna be me as a ghost. Really, don't look at me.
We said that at the same
What'd you
We
say?
said that at the same time. And me and I said, yeah, it's gonna be you.
LOL. See, we just know each other. So, the Tropicana pool at the Roosevelt Hotel has its own spooky stories, with the security guards as witnesses. Security says that on the security cameras, they have seen people swimming in the pool after hours, and when they go to check it out, they find the pool empty with no trace of anyone who may have been in there. They also have mentioned that on the security camera, one of the ghosts even stood right next to one of the security guards who went to go check and secure the area, but they claim he never saw anyone. So that's
That's creepy as
spooky.
fuck.
All right, so this is the part where I remembered, or where I told you to remember that I Love Lucy was filmed here, okay? Or at least one of the episodes. So this is one of my favorite stories to talk about, not to make it seem like a fun story. It's just like I've always kind of,
Been intrigued.
yeah, been intrigued, and it's like I always thought that the hotel was cursed. How you've watched I Love Lucy, right?
A couple episodes, yeah.
Do you know who Fred Mertz is?
Wasn't he the husband?
Yeah,
Yeah.
apparently this guy was walking down the street on Hollywood Boulevard, and as soon as he got to the front of the Roosevelt Hotel, he like dropped something, and as soon as he went to like go pick it up, he had a heart attack and he ended up dying. And this is only like 5 days after his birthday or something like that. So I don't know. Coincidence? I don't know. But like, why in front of the hotel, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm a little upset with myself at the fact that I haven't gone to the hotel myself, and it's like here in LA. Like I could be there in 20 minutes. But it's on the list of places to go to. But yeah, that was my haunted location. Would you like to take us into the serial killer of the week?
So my serial killer of the week is Leonarda Cianciulli. So before we get more into information about her, I have an important question for you.
Okay.
Now, I know you don't want kids, so I'm going to ask it in a different way than I would have asked someone else. If you believed that something could save the life of someone you truly love, believed in that something so strongly, would you do it no matter what it was?
I mean, yeah, if we're talking about like my kids, if I ever had kids, of course.
Okay, because this week's serial killer, Leonarda, she did, in fact, do something that she wholeheartedly believed would save her children.
Oh, I'm here for the tea, honey. Let's do it.
Funny you should say that. So she's known as the soap maker of Correggio, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce how you say her name in Italian because I can barely say Correggio and her last name without even attempting something else. So she was
It's
born
okay, we understand.
on April 18th, 1894 in Montella Avellino, Italy. I'm pretty sure that's how you say that. Now, in her early life, before she was married in 1917, she attempted suicide twice. And then later in 1917, she married a man whose name I am not going to pronounce, but I'm pretty sure is the English version of Raphael.
Uh-huh.
And he was a registry office clerk. And legend says that her mother did not approve of the marriage because she wanted to marry off Leonarda to another man. And so, for
Mhm.
going against her, her mother cursed them. 4 years later, in 1921, the couple moved to her husband's native town, where Leonardo would later be sentenced and imprisoned for fraud in 1927. So 6 years after they moved there.
Mhm.
When she was released, the couple moved to a different location and their home was destroyed in the 1930 earthquake. So then they moved once more, this time to Correggio, where Leonardo opened up a small shop. And she was
Mhm.
really loved by everybody that was there. So I don't know if you can tell, but just in that time frame alone, they had already had a lot of bad luck.
Mhm.
It gets a little sad. So, kind of foreshadowing, going back to her mother, quote unquote, cursing their marriage, Leonarda and her husband would have 17 pregnancies during their marriage. They would lose 3 of the children to miscarriages, 10 more would die in their youth. And because of this, Leonarda was heavily protective of the 4 surviving children.
Yeah.
Her
Wow.
it gets worse. So besides like already having lost that many children, her
Mhm.
fears got fueled even more by a warning that she had from a fortune teller who said she would marry, have children, but then that all of her children would die young, all of them. And this part isn't proven, but it is also believed that she later visited a Romani palm reader who told
Mhm.
her, "In your right hand, I see prison, and in your left, a criminal asylum."
Remind me never to go to a psychic. Like,
This next section, I was actually really kind of like proud of myself for the title. I called it For the Children. It's about the murders. So in 1913, you'll understand why. You'll understand why. So in 1939, Leonardo learned that her oldest son and favorite child, I'm not even going to try and say his name, was going to join the Italian army in preparation for World War II. She was determined to protect him at all costs and came to the decision that his safety required human sacrifices.
oh, okay.
So all 3 of her victims would be middle-aged women, and all of them would be her neighbors. First of her victims, Festani Seti, was a spinster who had come to Leonardo's help for finding a husband. Now, she persuaded Seti to basically write her own, I guess they're not death notes, but like notes to hide her disappearance. And during her last visit, Leonarda killed her with an axe and dragged the body to a closet. She cut it into 9 parts, gathered the blood into a basin, and then Leonarda is quoted as describing what happened next in her official police statement, which is, are you ready for this?
No, but yeah.
This is a direct quote. "I threw the pieces into a pot, added 7 kilos of caustic soda, which I had bought to make soap, and stirred the mixture until the pieces dissolved in a thick, dark mush that I poured into several buckets and emptied into a nearby septic tank. As for the blood in the basin, I waited until it had coagulated, dried it in the oven, ground it, and mixed it with flour, sugar, chocolate, milk, and eggs, as well as a bit of margarine. Kneading all the ingredients together, I made lots of crunchy tea cakes and served them to the ladies who came to visit. Her son and her
Um,
son and her also ate those cakes."
oh no.
On top of that, it is also believed and recorded that Leonarda received Seti's life savings of 30,000 lire as payment for her
Uh,
service, which is I think
bruh,
lire, it's a coin in Italy. So I'm not exactly sure how much that translates to American dollars, but still.
I'm never eating a cake that someone makes me.
Oh, it gets worse.
Oh, Jesus.
Second victim was Francesca Sovai. I'm pretty sure that's how you say her name. We're just going to go with I'm saying them correctly. So Leonardo claimed to have found Francesca a job at a school for girls. Kind of like Seti, Francesca was persuaded to write postcards to be sent to friends and family while she had left. Francesca also visited Leonardo one last time, and she was given drugged wine and then also killed with an axe. This murder happened on September 5th, 1940, and her body was given the same treatment as the first. It is also believed that Leonardo obtained 3,000 lire from the second victim. Her third and final victim, Virginia, was a widow and a former soprano who was said to have sung at La Scala. I'm not sure if that was like a bar or a theater. It didn't say when I had looked into it. But for her, Leonardo had claimed to have found work as a secretary in Florence, Italy. And she was also instructed to not tell a person where she was going, kind of like the other two, which I didn't mention. They were told not to tell people where they were going. She agreed, and on September 30th, 1940, the team to visit Leonarda. The pattern to the murder was the same as the first two. However, the only difference was that she took Virginia's body and melted it to make soap.
I've heard this before.
Because you probably have. We've talked about on the episode how, not on the episode, on the podcast, how human skin makes the best soap.
Oh, that might have been it.
Scientifically proven. I wouldn't recommend it, but it is scientifically
The
proven.
fact that you just said that sentence so casually and I so casually responded to you. Huh.
Anyways, so
Leonarda.
Leonarda's statement about her third victim was, she ended up in a pot, like the other two. Her flesh was fat and white. When it had melted, I added a bottle of cologne, and after a long time on the boil, I was able to make some most acceptable creamy soap. I gave bars to bad acquaintances. The cakes, too, were better. That woman was really sweet.
Not the details.
That was her personal statement, dude. Her testimony statement.
Fucking weirdo.
From Virginia, Leonarda reportedly received 50,000 lire,
Whoa.
jewels, public bonds. She even sold all of their clothing and shoes. Now, again, just remember that all of this was to save the life of her child. And I actually don't know if her son survived the war or not. I didn't look into that. Anyways.
Keep us posted if you find out.
Yeah, I'll look into it. So her final victim's sister-in-law, Albertina, grew suspicious of her sudden disappearance and had last seen her entering Leonarda's house. She reported her fears to the police, who opened an investigation and then soon arrested Leonarda. She did not confess to the murders until they believed that her son was involved in the crime. As soon as they were under the impression that her son was involved, that is when she confessed to all the murders, providing detailed accounts of what she had done to save her son from any blame. Leonarda was tried for murder in Reggio Emilia in 1946. She remained unrepentant, going so far as to correct the official account while on the stand. And there's a quote from somebody that was in there that says, at her trial in Reggio Emilia last week, POTUS Leonarda gripped the witness stand rail with oddly delicate hands and calmly set the prosecutor right on certain details. Her deep-set dark eyes gleamed with a wild inner pride as she concluded, I gave the copper ladle which I used to skim the fat off the kettles to my country, which was so badly in need of metal during the last days of the war. Can you imagine being corrected because you mixed up details or like said something that was incorrect and the killer was like, excuse you? No.
Hold on, didn't you just post something about, being a serial killer and writing your own murder book because these authors can't get it right?
Yeah.
Is this why?
No, actually it wasn't. I recently posted a thing. Was it on my Facebook or was it on our Facebook? I think it was mine, right?
I don't go on Facebook, so it had to be Instagram or you sent it to me on Messenger.
Yeah, and it said, imagine a serial killer who gets tired of reading novels where the writers get it wrong. Tired from being a serial killer to write their own novels to get the details right.
Yeah. Huh, what a nice connection.
I know. So Leonarda was found guilty of her crimes and sentenced to 30 years in prison and 3 years in a criminal asylum. Ring a bell?
Huh, yeah. Psychic.
Yep.
The palm reader, right?
Both of them.
Well, yeah. But I feel like, wasn't it the palm reader that got specific like that, though, with the hands?
Yeah. So Leonarda would later die of a brain bleed in the women's criminal asylum on October 15th, 1970. A number of artifacts from the case, including the pot which the victims were boiled, are currently on display display at the Criminological Museum in Rome.
Cool. Add that to my list of places to go.
I was the same way. And I was super excited to be able to find information in the media about her. So one of the popular media adaptations of her story is a dark comic play called Love and Magic in Mama's Kitchen, which was first produced by Lena Wertemiller at a festival in 1979. And then the play began a run on Broadway in 1983. Then there is also
This wasn't that long ago.
1983.
Yeah, I just feel like the story would be back. I think I'm just so used to us doing like serial killers or stuff from like back in the 1800s and shit.
Well, she was born in the 1800s and she died in the 70s.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she kind of had like all of the decades, really, or centuries, really. But there's also some other things. Most of them were play adaptations. There's not really like movies or anything. There was a short film in 2015. There was some books and some plays, all of which have very difficult names that I'm not going to try and pronounce. But besides the Love and Magic in Mama's Kitchen, there was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other ones too.
Love and Magic in Mama's Kitchen. Love it.
I loved it too. So yeah, that's my serial killer of the week.
Nice. Thank you for that disturbing serial killer.
Yeah, you know I love the disturbing ones.
So the next segment obviously is our tarot reading, Ghosties. And what we're doing is we're doing a tarot reading for everyone in general, pretty much, on the month ahead of us. I did pull the cards, but because I can't really talk that much anymore, I'm gonna have Chelsea go ahead and take over and tell you guys what cards were pulled and what they represent. I'll try to give as much commentary as I can, but that's what's going down.
Yeah, don't know if you guys have noticed, but Veronica's voice has very slowly started to dwindle.
I think it was my segment because I had to that's the most I've talked in a while, so.
Yeah, we're just going to give you a break. You just chime in when you feel like you need to.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a 6-card reading. Technically, it's going to be 7 because the very last card that has nothing to do with the actual reading kind of threw itself at Veronica when she was pulling cards. So we're going to try and see what it represents after we go through everything else. But the original month ahead spread is only 6 cards. And card 1 represents our energy during the month ahead. Card 2 represents our social life this month. Card 3 is something that we should pursue in this month. Card 4 is something we should be conscious of. Card 5, practice self-care. And card 6 is how can we be in alignment with our highest self. Now remember that all of these cards are representing the month ahead and they're representing the month of September. So card number 1.
That's what comes after August, guys.
Fun fact.
Tell them, Chelsea.
Did you know that August and July were not actually part of the calendar originally?
No way.
Yeah, that's why October.
How'd you find that out?
I don't know. I learned it a while ago. Are you sarcastic right now?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, October was.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
It was originally January, February, March, April, May, June, September, October, November, December.
So where the fuck did July and August come from, huh? That's interesting. Thank you for that.
I can tell you actually. So following June, which was actually not the original name, I'm not even going to try and pronounce it. It was like Junius or something like that. Following June was the month of Quintilis, we're talking about the ancient Roman calendar, which is what our calendar is based on now. So the seventh month was actually Quintilis. Yes. And it was renamed to Julius to represent Julius Caesar after his death. And it was later renamed July. Same thing.
This is so interesting.
Yeah. Same thing. It's actually named after the Emperor Augustus, and it was originally named Sextilis in the Roman calendar. So getting back on topic, card number 1, which represents our energy during the month ahead, is represented by the Queen of Swords. So the card is saying that we are intelligent and truthful. We have an unbiased judgment and clear boundaries, and our decisions are based on facts, not just emotions. And it could also represent that an older woman who steps into your life when you are vulnerable will protect and help you overcome challenges. So that's going to be our energy this month.
Sure, we're going based off of facts, not feelings, people.
Be logical, not emotional. So card number 2 represents what our social life will be like this month, and this is represented by the 8 of Pentacles. This is a time of hard. Yeah, no kidding. You have no idea. This is a time of hard work, commitment, and dedication. You're developing your skills to achieve mastery of your craft. You are working towards something that you want and are on the brink of achieving great success and filling your ambition. Do not let anything stop you. So, ghosties, none of us are having a social life this month.
We are working our asses off to get where we want.
Yep. Do it. Accept it. You are not alone.
It's not like, I mean, if they're your real friends, you know, they're not going anywhere. If anything, they should be supportive.
Veronica, I think we need to take a break this month.
You know what, Chelsea? Fuck you. All right? I don't think we need a break. Imagine.
So card number 3 is something that we should pursue this month, and this comes through the King of Wands. We are all energetic, action-oriented, and optimistic. We are also friendly and good with words. We're supportive of others while independent and needing our own freedom. We are all natural-born leaders and extremely capable of what we set our minds to.
There you go. Back to card number 1.
Yep. Exactly. It's coming full circle, guys. Card number 4 is something we should be conscious of this month, and this is coming through the 3 of Cups. There are reunions and celebrations in our lives. You are spending quality time with people you cherish, and there are happy and uplifting energies around you. You're enjoying the company, and there is lots of love, laughter, and support. This can be a good time to celebrate your success with close friends and family, or to collaborate with others. So you can have a social life with people that support you.
Or maybe it means like towards the end of the month after you've like worked your ass off. That's
and
kind of like
Veronica telling you not to have a social life.
Anyways.
I just had to. I was fucking with you.
You're lucky I can't breathe.
There's times where I can't breathe, so I know the feeling.
Yeah.
Card number 5 is how we can practice self-care this month, which is very important. And this comes through the Empress. There is beauty, abundance, and femininity in our life. I'm really glad that said femininity and not fertility. There may be new opportunities, romance, or even new businesses on the horizon. Focus on your creative expression and you will experience pleasure and deep fulfillment.
Oh, yes. Ghosties, September.
September is here for us. So our semi-final card, card 6, is how we can be in alignment with our highest self this month. And this is coming through the 4 of Cups. There are opportunities that we're turning down and we are refusing. We can feel regret and might even be focusing on the negative aspects. We need to meditate over and reevaluate what is important to us, realizing what makes us feel bored and unhappy and what makes us happy and satisfied, and doing something about it is what is going to help make a change for the better. Wow.
Wow. I think we should do this at the end of every month.
Not us getting called out all together.
I know. That's why I wanted to do this. Let's drag everyone down with us.
Okay, ghosties. So here we have our last card that threw itself at Veronica, but doesn't have an actual.
Appreciate it.
Huh?
Yeah. I said I didn't appreciate it.
Yeah, you should have heard her. Like she was like, "What the fuck." So this card is the 10 of Wands reversed. Taking on too much responsibilities can lead to stress and a breakdown. You might feel like you're working hard, carrying all the burden, yet getting nowhere. Learn to say no, learn to let go, and release it all.
I think that's just, you take it as you want to take it, but it makes sense.
Bro, I feel so fucking called out by that card. You can tell your deck to go fuck itself.
Hey, no. Good job, Tech. Good job.
No, dude, like legit. I feel so called out by that card.
Slow down, okay? Slow down, find your pace. You'll get there when you get there.
I feel like September is going to be the month where I finally just say fuck it and say no to everybody and just like enter my villain era.
Hell yeah. Fuck yeah, and I'm here for it. All right, Chelsea, thank you so much for doing that tarot reading. Ghosties, I hope you enjoyed the tarot reading. I think this is something we should consider doing at the end of each month. It was kind of fun. I actually enjoyed it. And you know
I
what? If it's like the end of September and nothing happened, no change, did you really try? Did you
Yeah.
really prioritize your social life and your work life and you properly, you know what I mean? Do your
Yeah.
part. What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say like I feel like this would be a good thing to do as like a live video at the end of every month, like maybe on the last day of the month and just kind of do a live with all the ghosties and see what all of us are leading into.
I would love to hear their response too as we go along. So yeah, that's a great idea. All right, well, thank you Ghosties for joining us this week. Make sure to give us a follow on our social media. If you want a free tarot card reading, feel free to DM us. We will choose one lucky person a week. We are your hosts. I'm Veronica.
And I'm Chelsea.
You guys have a spooky weekend. Talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.